Hey guys, welcome to my pickups video for January 2019. If you can tell, I'm a little congested here. I've got a lingering sinus infection that won't go away. So trying to be as clear and concise as I can with my speaking and trying to get through this the best that I can. So I got a nice little stack of things to talk about here for this past month. First one's will be some miscellaneous pickups here. I'll start with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. These are the Platinum Dunes movies, of course, the remake and then the prequel to the remake. Thought it was interesting that they decided to do a prequel to the remake rather than a sequel. But a little bit of an unpopular opinion. I thought the remake was done really well. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cast really well. I thought they kept a lot of elements from the original film and made it their own in the proper spots. So I really enjoyed both of these films. They're decent, maybe standalone. They don't really fit with anything else in the rest of the franchise. But again, I wanted to complete my collection. These are two missing pieces. Looks like this was a Canadian release because it has text in French and English, and this was a purchase off Amazon. So for a double pack for a relatively low price, it was worth it, which is a segue into the next purchase here, which is Texas Chainsaw, or Texas Chainsaw 3D. This is a standalone sequel to the first film. So now in the franchise, we've got Texas Chainsaw Next Generation, which is its own sequel to the original. And then this is its own standalone sequel to the original. So it's kind of a weird tangent. Not the greatest film, but again, unpopular opinion, I really did enjoy it. I'd say next to part 2, this is actually probably my favorite sequel in the whole series. I thought it was a nice take on the original. They inserted some footage from the end of the first film and kind of did an in-between cut and made up their own lineage between what happened after the first film and that leads into the beginning of this movie. So they kind of made up their own history to make this movie, and that's okay. I thought it was a good imagining on all the characters and a decent entry into the series. Again, it wasn't great. There were some plot points that were kind of dumb, but overall, I enjoyed it. For a film, it looked good. It sounded good. I thought it was actually well cast. Especially compared to something like Next Generation. I thought this was done really, really well and is a decent entry into the series. And it completes my collection, so that's that. Next one here is the 2018 Halloween. So again, speaking of films that are direct sequels to their originals, this ignores everything after the first one and exists as if the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 never even happened before. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. If you've seen it, that's great. If not, I'd recommend it. A lot of people are kind of mixed on this one. I actually really enjoyed it. I opted to get the standalone 4K release. You can kind of see how it's raised there in the slipcover. I got this rather than getting the Steelbook from Best Buy. I didn't think the design of the Steelbook was really worth the money. I like the slipcover on this one a little bit better. I enjoyed it. I'll give it a watch here pretty soon again. I saw it in theaters, but again, just to kind of complete the collection, had to throw this one into the pile. The next one here is Dogma on Blu Ray, and this was a purchase on eBay. These are out of print, and I actually got a really good price on this one. I got it for about 20 bucks on eBay, which is an absolute steal. They usually go from $40 and up on Blu Ray here. It doesn't seem to be too much of an improvement over the original DVD that I had. In terms of picture and everything, it is, but I think the extras and everything are all the same. But this was an upgrade I've been wanting to get ever since it went out of print. I've been on the lookout for it, and this happened to stumble upon a really good deal. And looks good, sounds good, plays well for a bargain. It was well worth the 20 bucks to get on eBay. The last one here in the miscellaneous pile is Willow on Blu Ray. This is the new 30th anniversary edition that just came out recently, and I thought they did a really good job on the transfer. There's very little information about it in here. It is, of course, an HD transfer, but they don't really talk about the elements if it came from the original negative, which I assume it did, but they don't actually make reference to that in any of the material that came with the disc. But for a studio film like this, a catalog film, a lot of times if it's not going out to a specialty studio, these don't get treated very well. But this actually looks really, really good, sounds really, really good. So whoever did the restoration on this did a very good job. And again, it's no longer out of print. You don't need to spend ridiculous amounts of money to get this on Blu-ray anymore. So out now, Willow 30th anniversary on Blu-ray. All right, so the next ones I'm going to go over here are my Arrow Video pickups for the past month. And Arrow Video had a sale on their UK site, and I went through and kind of went through everything that I wanted to get that was region free. I don't have a region free player, but these will play in any region. And these were all really inexpensive, and it got here very, very fast. I think there's like 7.5 pounds a piece, plus 10 pounds shipping. So I got 4 movies in their sale for less than what I would have been able to get them for domestically through Amazon. If I would have bought their US release counterparts, I would have paid probably 20 or 30 bucks more. So I get a really good deal on most of these. So the first one here is Frankenhooker. Again, these are all region ABC, so they'll play in any player. I've actually never seen this film before. I know it's a Frank Henenlotter film. He did Basket Case and Brain Damage, so I'm actually looking forward to picking it up because I really like his work. I've heard good things about it, so we'll see how it turns out. This one next is Madhouse. Again, this is one I've never seen before. Haven't gotten into it yet, but I've heard good things about it. Maniac Cop, starring Bruce Campbell. This one I have seen before. I actually had this back in the day on Laserdisc, and I have not seen this in quite a while. It was I guess a decent slasher from back in the 80s. And The Slayer, again, another one I have not seen. But for the price of all of these, it was an absolute steal. I couldn't resist it. So I'm looking forward to getting into those one day pretty soon. Next one here is an eBay pickup. This is the Arrow release of 12 Monkeys. And this happened to be scouring eBay and found this brand new. Someone was selling it brand new for, I think it was like $8. So I jumped on it. US release of 12 Monkeys. Really good movie from Terry Gilliam, starring Bruce Willis. He plays a time traveler that's trying to go back in time to basically figure out what caused a disease that wiped out the entire population, or most of the population. Really good, quirky movie. If you have seen anything else by Terry Gilliam, you know kind of what to expect. A classic film there. Next one was Society. This is the Arrow Video limited edition of Society. Again, another one I was scouring eBay for. This usually goes for stupid money on eBay, you know, upwards of 60, 70, 80 bucks. But I was able to get it from a seller that posted it for a very reasonable price. I actually just got this for a little over what the MSRP was. So I'm very happy to get this into my collection. There's the entire interior there. I do have the standard edition, which just has the Blu Ray and DVD. And I think this is basically the same, except it has this extra little book here, and of course the hardcover. This is a really, really cool kind of a gross out movie. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's a guy who is thinking he's adopted, and there's something really strange going on with his family, and it turns out that the upper class in, I think it was in Beverly Hills, kind of turn into this weird oozy creature and do really strange things. The effects in this are very, very good, done by Scrooby Matt George. It's a really interesting movie. If you've never seen it before, it is kind of gross towards the end, but definitely worth the watch. It was a really good surprise, and the regular edition is pretty easy to come by, so definitely go ahead and pick it up if you're a fan of Brian Usna, if you like Reanimator, that kind of stuff. This is a really kind of insane movie, but one I've been wanting to add to my collection for a while. I've been looking for this limited edition for a long time, so I'm glad to finally have gotten it. And the last one from Arrow here is the limited edition of Crimson Peak. I don't really know much about this. I know the packaging of this is really cool. I haven't opened it up yet. I know it's a Guillermo del Toro film. I've heard really good things about it. This was one I kind of bought just to buy, fear of missing out kind of thing. These limited editions don't tend to last very long from Arrow, and I heard the movie was really good as well, so I'll give this a spin one day pretty soon. Hopefully it's enjoyable. And the last stack of things here is a bunch of stuff I got from Scream Factory. And I've been kind of on a kick recently of getting the Scream Factory collector's editions with the slipcover whenever I could get my hands on them. So the first one here, I was able to get Day of the Dead on Blu Ray with the slipcover. Didn't pay an exorbitant amount of money for this one. Here's the original artwork, and I love that original artwork. I like both. I like both sets of artwork very, very much. But this original I thought was always really cool. Single disc collector's edition here, Day of the Dead. Really, really good job here on the transfer. I really enjoyed this film. And a lot of people kind of like to shit on it from time to time, but the sequel in the Romero zombie movies, I really like Day of the Dead quite a bit. The slipcover, though, is hard to come by, and I was able to locate a copy of the Blu Ray with the slip for a very reasonable price. So I'm very happy to add it to my collection. The first time I had this on Blu Ray, I was getting rid of my DVD to kind of make up for what I paid for this, so a great find there. Another one here with the slipcover is Sleepaway Camp. And again, I didn't pay, actually I paid what I would have paid if this would have been done originally. I paid MSRP for it, so I'm very happy to get these out-of-print slipcovers without having to spend a ridiculous amount of money. This is a DVD Blu-ray combo pack here. Decent slasher from the 80s with a very, very memorable twist ending. So if you've never seen it before, I won't spoil it for you. Probably the best of the bunch. There's 2 official sequels. I think there's another one that came out recently that wasn't very good, but the original is definitely worth watching, especially for the twist ending. Another one here is Body Bags. This is the John Carpenter directed anthology film. A little disappointed that this didn't have a reversible cover, so getting the slip on it was really just for the sake of getting the slip and not getting the additional artwork to display. Again, this is a DVD Blu-ray combo pack. Haven't seen this one in a while, but I am looking forward to going through it again. I really like anthology films, and of course I'm a big John Carpenter fan, so kind of get the best of both with that one. Next one here is Mad Max, the original Mad Max with the slipcover. Again, the original cover art here, and this is standalone Blu-ray. And again, Scream Factory does a really good job with all of these movies, whether they use their own restoration or if they license someone else's. For domestic releases, these are very good. They all look great, sound great, especially some of the older ones they've done a really good job with. Next one here is Land of the Dead, and I actually got this off of Amazon. The other ones I got off of eBay. This was an Amazon purchase that came with a slipcover, and here's the original artwork. Little surprise, this has been out for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and they still have new stock with the slipcovers, so I was really happy to just find this for whatever the normal price was, like 20 bucks or so. Again, Romero zombie film. You've got the unrated and R-rated cuts here on Blu-ray. I think this is a little underrated. I liked Day of the Dead. Land of the Dead was also very good. More of a modern film. Of course, it was shot in the early 2000s, I believe. I think this probably had the highest level of social commentary from any Romero movie. They all have some level of social commentary, but I think this one was the most obvious. But I did like it. I think I've heard that it took some elements of the original Day of the Dead script and incorporated it into this film. So you kind of see that with this guy here. I think they call him Big Daddy Zombie, who displayed a lot of intelligence, just like this guy did, just like Bob from Day of the Dead, kind of both showing some signs of intelligence and leadership and able to communicate with each other, with the other zombies. But it was a good movie. John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper are in it as well. So I think it's underrated. I think it doesn't get appreciated as much of the other films. I think Night and Dawn tend to eclipse most of the other films, but definitely worth the pick up. I watched the unrated version recently, and I don't know the differences between that and the R-rated version. I think the running time difference was not too great, but still, again, rambling now, a decent entry into the Romero Zombie trilogy, or Romero Zombie series, I should say. Next one here is Drag Me to Hell. Got this for a steal at an FYE that was closing. Again, it had the slipcover. I think I paid about $7 for it. There's your original artwork. And unrated and R-rated cuts. I found out after I bought this that the unrated cut actually had a replacement program from Scream Factory because some of the scenes that were supposed to have been included were just the R-rated scenes. So I sent away and got my updated copy of the unrated disc. So I have a version 2 disc in here. So maybe I'll actually watch this and maybe I'll give it a rewatch to see what the differences are. But again, a really good Sam Raimi film. Oozes Sam Raimi. If you're a fan of his work, especially The Evil Dead, you can definitely tell who made this movie. A lot of camera moves in this film are the same or similar to what you see in The Evil Dead. But a decent movie, again, probably a little underrated from the early to mid-2000s. So another anthology film here that I've not yet seen is Trick or Treat. Again, got this at the FYE that was closing with the slipcover. Haven't opened it yet. But again, I love my anthology films, so I'll be giving this one a spin pretty soon. Another one I have not seen yet, but I am a fan of the Hammer films, Dracula, Prince of Darkness, starring Christopher Lee. One of my favorite Hammer films that I've seen recently is, I think it was The Curse of Frankenstein, where I think it was Christopher Lee plays the monster and Peter Cushing plays Dr. Frankenstein. So these are all really cool movies. I really enjoy the Hammer films, and I'm glad to see that they're getting good restorations from Scream Factory so we can get them domestically here in the U.S. Here's Screamers from Scream Factory. No slipcover because this is not a collector's edition. It does come with reversible artwork. The other art looks just like that. This is a standalone Blu Ray. And again, probably an underrated, maybe rightfully so, sci-fi type film from the, I want to say, late 90s, I believe it was. Mid to late 90s. I think I remember it being better than it actually was. I was actually excited to get this, and was kind of underwhelmed by it. So, the effects don't really hold up very well. The story is kind of a throwaway story. But it's a decent sci-fi film. It's got Peter Weller in it. We all love him from RoboCop. So I'm glad to add it to my collection, but just maybe didn't hold up as well as I thought it would have. Another Hammer film here is The Plague of the Zombies. And again, I have not seen this film yet. And these zombies aren't your typical Romero zombies. These are more of your traditional voodoo zombies, where I believe that they're taken over by somebody else and are basically being enslaved by somebody else, as opposed to being flesh-eating ghouls from beyond the grave. Not too sure about the content of the film, but it's Hammer film. I really like Hammer films, and I'll probably be getting everything that Scream Factory does this year with Hammer. I know they have a lot on their slate. Last one here, again, another blind buy, another one I've never seen before, have not yet opened, is the It's Alive trilogy. Another purchase on eBay. Got this for $14.99, and I think this is something kind of like Basket Case. I think the three films are similar to that, so I'm looking forward to get it. It's like a good creature feature. I think this is a Cohen, Leonard Cohen, I believe, made these movies. So I'm looking forward to it. Or Larry Cohen made these movies. So looking forward to digging into that one day as well. I still have a lot of stuff to go through in the past couple of months, including the Critters box set. So this may have to wait a little bit. But as you can see, I got a pretty big haul here. Really heavy on the Scream Factory, really heavy on the Arrow Video this past month. So I'm not sure what I'll be looking for in February. I've got a couple of things in already. I'm looking for my Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 with the slipcovers, so I may or may not find those, but nothing else is coming out that I can think of off the top of my head. But I hope February is as fruitful as January. But I do need to carve out some time to actually go over these things and actually give them a watch. So let me know what you guys picked up. Let me know what you think of what I've picked up this past month. And can have a little discussion in the comments below. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.